Okay, so you saved up $1,000 and now you're asking yourself like, hey, now that I have this $1,000, what are some of the smartest and best choices that I can do with this $1,000 to make the most of it? Well, you're definitely in the right place, because that's exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you today in this video, the 5 best things that you should be doing if you have $1,000 in the bank. So with that being said, let's go. So the very first thing that we want to do with some of this $1,000 that we worked so hard to save up is that we want to go ahead and open up ourselves some type of banking account. Most likely it's going to be a savings account, and this savings account or this bank account is going to act as your emergency fund. So what is the purpose of this bank account? This is going to be money that you truly will not spend or do not tap into unless an absolute financial emergency pops up. So you want to take some of this $1,000, maybe you want to take 100, 150, maybe 200 bucks, get started with, go ahead, deposit it into that bank account, and you're going to just not only keep that amount, but you're going to slowly add to it. This is just getting your emergency fund started, and your ultimate goal with this emergency fund is to obviously not touch it unless it's an emergency, but your ultimate goal is to continually add to this emergency fund until you have somewhere between 3 to 6 months of your mandatory living expenses. So that amount is going to be different for each and every individual person and their life and their situation. So you need to look at how much money does it require to fund your life for 1 month, and then go ahead and multiply that times 3 or multiply that times 6, and then go ahead and try and make it your long-term goal to ultimately save up that dollar amount in that emergency fund. So that's the very first thing that we want to do with some of this $1,000 that we saved up. Open up and start our emergency fund. All right, you guys, so the second thing that we want to do with some of this $1,000 that we've saved up is that we want to take a look at our financial life and see, hey, do we have any high interest debts that we are carrying? This could be like loans, maybe personal loans. It could be credit card debt that we have. It could be school loans. It could be whatever type of debt that you might have got yourself into. The type of debt is not so much important, but the biggest factor is, does that debt that you have, does it carry a high interest rate? I would probably define a high interest rate as anything above 4%. So if you have any type of debt and the interest rate is above 4%, this is where you want to say, okay, that's high interest, and I want to start making a point to at least start paying off that high interest, because why would you possibly want to pay more money to somebody than you already have to? And the higher and higher the interest is, and the longer and longer you take to pay back these lenders or these finance companies, the more and more extra money you're going to be giving them. So this is exactly why we want to make it a point to at least start attempting to pay back these amounts of money that you owe these people, and eliminate as much as possible the amount of free and extra, income that you're going to be giving them because they're charging such a high interest rate. So we want to find out what are those high interest debts that you have, and just like I said, take some portion of this $1,000 and at least start making a conscious attempt to pay down the high interest debts that you have. It's not going to obviously happen right away, because you're only taking a portion of this $1,000 and starting there, but at least it's a start, and then you just continue to reinforce that habit of following up on paying those high interest debts, and then ultimately you will pay those debts off, and you will be very glad that you did. So that's what we're going to do for the second step with our $1,000. All right, you guys, so the third thing that we're going to do with a portion of this $1,000 is we're going to take a small portion and we're going to start a side hustle. Now, why are we going to start a side hustle? We're going to start a side hustle because we want to generate more income for ourselves. Now, ideally, we want to find a side hustle that we could start for well under $1,000, because we don't want to use our whole $1,000, and ideally we want this side hustle to be one that does not take a lot of our time, but we still want to make a fair amount of money. So I'm not going to go in this part of the video and suggest all kind of certain side hustles to you, or push any type of side hustle, or sell some kind of product or something to you, but just simply do a search here on YouTube or on Google, look for side hustles that you could start to generate income for less than $1,000. You're going to find lots of options. Just go ahead and pick one that seems like the most fun to you, or the one that you're most interested in. Go ahead and start that. Now, what is the reason why we're doing this? Because we want to make more money, and when we have more money, then we have more options, and then that's where we're going to go ahead and start looking into things like building wealth and all that. So this is one of the ways that we want to take some of the $1,000 that we have and use it to go ahead and grow our income even further. All right, you guys, so in step 4, what we want to do is we want to take some portion of this $1,000 and we want to reinvest back in our education. So what kind of education specifically? Well, we want to look at things like maybe books on investing, books on personal growth. They don't have to be physical books. It could be online. You can have audiobooks. It could be things like that. It could be online courses. It could be one-to-one coaching. It could be whatever it is. But we want, or it could be where you go to some company and maybe it costs more than $1,000 to sign up for, this or like the program that they're going to put you through, and you're going to get some kind of training, and on the other side, once you're completed, you're going to get some kind of degree or some kind of certificate that's going to give you a skill set that's going to allow you to make a lot more money, something like that, because that's your education. That's you investing back into you so you could become more valuable in the marketplace, be able to earn more money, or by listening to audiobooks and things about personal growth or investing. Now you know more, so then you can make better, you are more educated, so you can make better overall decisions and choices with your money, with your life. So all of this, all these things are great, and this is exactly why you want to take some portion of this $1,000 and reinvest back into your education, because the rewards are going to be way higher. The return on investment is way higher than the money that you put out, and that's exactly what we want. So that's what we're going to be doing in step 4 with this part of this $1,000. Alright guys, so in the 5th step, what we want to do is we want to take some portion of this $1,000 that we've saved up, and we want to start investing. Now, what type of investing am I talking about exactly? So the type of investing I'm talking about is going to depend on you, the individual, on what type of, what is your risk tolerance? What type of investing are you looking at? Like, do you want to own physical, assets or investments? Do you want to own, paper or digital type assets? Or are you more like that business-minded person and you're like, no, I want my investment to be a business. So here we go. These are the 3 personal suggestions that I think are all proven ways to grow and build, your income and ultimately your wealth. So the first option and suggestion is that you take some of this $1,000 and start a business. Now, obviously, no business is just going to be like completely funded and all solved and ultimately grow to be a very successful business with less than $1,000. That's probably not going to happen, but you can at least get started. So that's what I'm saying. Open and start a business for less than $1,000. So that's the first possible investment, for you to get started with. Now, the second option is for you to take like the route of start investing. Not that you're not going to build your whole wealth with less than $1,000, but you're at least going to take the action to sign up and open up a brokerage account, so that way you could start investing into the stock market. Now, are you going to buy individual stocks? Are you going to buy something like an index fund, something like that, or an ETF? I don't know. That's going to come up to you, but nevertheless, the stock market is a tried and proven, vehicle that you can use to build wealth, because the stock market has made millions of millionaires. So that's the other suggestion, looking at the stock market as a potential option to start your invest. Okay, so the third option is that you want to start looking at saving up so you can come up with your down payment, so that way you can invest and get into real estate and become a real estate investor, because real estate is one of the best ways for you to grow and build your wealth. So these are, like I said, these are all 3 of these options that I mentioned to you in this part of the video are all tried and proven methods that have made millions of millionaires. Some people own all of those. They own a business, they own real estate, they're in the stock market. Some have all their wealth in one thing. So it's not about that one of these is better than the other, but I suggest, given the fact that you're working with just $1,000 and you're only going to use a portion of this money to get started in this thing, just pick one. Go ahead and start working on that thing until you really build it into something, because like I said, you could build wealth with just one of them. You don't need all 3, but the key is to just at least get started in one of these areas, because the chances are, if you're watching this video, you probably haven't started investing in any of those 3 areas. So pick one of those 3 and get started. Hey, if you made it to this point of the video, I would really appreciate it if you could just give this video a like, and if you enjoyed this type of content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, so that way we can just grow this community and you will get notified each and every time I upload a video just like the one you're watching. And if you would like to watch another video, be sure to click the video that pops up here on the screen, and I will see you in that next video.